All right, so let's get some facial animations on these MetaHumans. So we can do that by coming up to our wardrobe editor, and you can just start by clicking on any of these heads up here, and you'll see this little menu down here pops up. And what we want to do is just click on this little plus, and that will auto-populate this with a data asset, and that will bring up this secondary data asset, which we can also auto-populate with the plus button. Great. And this is actually where we add the animations, this second data asset. So you can just double click on that and open that up. And we don't actually have to add an animation reference skeleton. That will auto-populate on its own once we start adding our own animations. Great. All right. So we can just go to animation sources here and click to add an array. And we'll just expand that. And we can start adding our first animation here. So we can just come right up here. And let's see. Our first one is the cheering. So weapon and shield cheer. And we want to make sure we're grabbing the face from the 5.6 MetaHumans. Great. And now we can go and add a tag here. And we want to add the tag under the same animation and cheer tag here. So we can actually add a sub tag to the cheer there. And you can name this anything, but just to keep it organized, we'll say face and add new tag. Great. And we can select that. All right. And let's keep adding our other animations here. We had weapon and shield idle. So let's go and add a tag for that. Overcrowd, animation, idle, and we'll add a face sub tag to that. And then once that adds, make sure to select that. Great. And we will go and add a third one. Okay, great. We now have all of our face animations added and tagged appropriately, so we can just go ahead and save that. And we can go ahead and minimize that, and we should be able to just bake everything. So let's go ahead and bake our animations. Okay, and once that's done, go ahead and hit refresh, and let's take a look at our crowd. And, there seems to be a slight bug where the tags aren't quite working for the face animations, lining them up, unless you make a new population scene box. So let's grab our wardrobe editor here, and we will select a box, and we'll go ahead and spawn that in. And let's take a look at these guys here. Okay, that looks right. Great. Okay, so now the animations seem to be working properly. We have the correct face animations on the correct body animations. And you'll also see there is a little bit of this kind of weird face distortion, almost like it's taking on, like this guy's taking on some of the facial characteristics of Bruce, which I believe is the which is the auto-populated skeletal mesh, as you can see here. So like Bruce's facial features are kind of like showing up in these in these other people's faces, which is obviously not what you want. We're not entirely sure why that's happening. It seems to be something that happens in 5.6 using the 5.6 MetaHumans. If you use facial animations that are built from the ground up in 5.6 using 5.6 MetaHumans and on a head that isn't too big, that seems to work. But as I said, we're still working through this one weird quirk, and we will keep you updated on that.